Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's the show. Things are quiet now. Shh. It's gentle as a rainbow in here. A rainbow on a very gentle day. Even the birds have lulled themselves to sleep. Pillows are softer now, and beds are more comfortable for us to rest our eyelids. This would be an interesting story if it wound up with how I killed someone and then tucked their corpse into bed. Quietly, of course. But now that the drumming is done, it's time to get back to the show. Here we go. And in it is. Alright, so Stephano doing this little swarm host pushy thing. But again, we just sort of define the expansions where this will work. We got one down here. We got one up here. We lock these two off permanently. So yeah, so usual sort of thing. Anytime we see any sense of anything that could possibly kill us, we just pull back. Now these units, these worthless roaches that weren't helping us at all to begin with, we're just going to get rid of them, man. We got to free up some food for the better swarm host, the locusts. You're noticing virtually no aggression at all. Continual maxing out on the corruptors. Infestors I actually don't like as much. Infestors, I think, shouldn't be valued as highly as the swarm hosts, the vipers, and especially the corruptors. The corruptors should be our highest unit count unit. It's at 15 right now. If we start to lose some swarm hosts, we're going to generally want to make sure that we're going overboard on corruptors if he has any air units at all. If he has no air units, we're still seeing that this is quite high at 15. Should be our biggest consideration, is to make sure we never are too low on corruptors. I think it's really easy to go up to like 58 frickin' swarm hosts or something like that. But either way, what about the mothership? Not a problem. Literally. You know, we lose some units, you win some, you lose some. Oh. Now, the storms on the corruptors are a really problematic aspect. However, as long as we're just pulling the Colossus up, and as long as we're continually backing up the swarm hosts back to our further and further lines of spines, we're in good shape. Notice how Stephano replaced most of his supply with corruptors, just trying to make sure that is as high up, as maxed up as possible. And there you go. Not trying to shove here, not trying to shove all the way to this expansion per se, but just trying to make sure that this region is held down, and this is definitely locked down, and that this is definitely locked down. And nothing too much in the either direction. So I don't actually mind doing this sort of siege, like just a brief little doink, but of course pulling back down. These are the tactics that just they just wound me. You're starting to see why this hurt my soul. This style of strategy where we see non-stop locusts blasting in, killing off everything. And of course these types of armies, the ones that have lots of Storm and Colossus and Stalkers overrunning everything, seem to have the best chance of breaking through these, but as you see, if we have too many corruptors, we can always kill off them Colossi. Drones are also an important part. I would really describe this as a swarm host corruptor drone. And then the Viper is the bonus thing that lets us chip ahead. But, of course, Stephano knows he needs to kill off this expansion, and there's an immaculate degree of patience from Stephano. He is not drilling his way forward too quickly. He's waiting for these defensive structures to build up. Yeah. Look at how safe these swarm hosts have been. Waiting until all the spine crawlers are in position before moving forward. Without spine crawlers, this does get chewed up a little bit quickly. Stephano surely and steadily forcing the engagements, forcing. We've never really had much more than these 18 swarm hosts, but we are replenishing more corruptors from 20 now up to 30. I told you them corruptors were important. As much feedback as humanly possible on the Vipers. I don't think feedback on Vipers is as important as Storm on Locusts. But what do I know? I'm just a hater. Yeah. Shuts them out. In the meantime, the slow grab up of this expansion. We don't need a ton of bases with this strat, as you can see. Having 5 bases was more than enough to support things. And of course, the unit's lost tab. It's not incredibly wildly favoring Stephano. Players are getting used to these mass swarm host corruptor compositions. I'm going to begin to times 8 it and times 4 it to speed things along a little bit. But this really, this is, oh, you guys. Oh my gosh. Just killing it off, killing off the gas. Getting some free hits, putting it forward, picking off a Colossus. Units that can be targeted by the Corruptors are the best things to pick off. I know Archons are very tempting targets, but of course Corruptors can't shoot Archons. So slowly, steadily, surely. I think this sort of stuff is cute, some small roach attacks, but I still don't think it is as good as staying focused. Was that a good game? Oh, that was a pause. I was like totally confused. I was like, man, he micros really well for a guy who's paused the game. So I think that this is a sort of appropriate adjustment now that the Colossi are getting a little lower and this position is entrenched. Key emphasis on this position is entrenched. If there were not a lot of spines here, I would be very leery of getting this many swarm hosts. But Stephano just drills it. Drills it right on home. Well, if 18 swarm hosts aren't working, let's go up to 30. One of the reasons that Stephano can do this, he wasn't... You'll notice how slow Stephano was to add on this extra pack. That's because he wanted to make sure he had enough money and these bases up. He's down to 50 drones from having been up to like bouncing between 100 and 75 and that sort of thing. What if my opponent built a whole bunch of Void Rays? Well, you obviously have a lot of Corruptors that can assist quite a lot. So you can build a lot of Spore Crawlers here as well. And we're actually seeing Baby Knight do a technique that I think should have been utilized much, much earlier, which is that attacking into Spine Crawlers is not really so bad if you have a ton of Zealots. Like this Spine Crawler pack here could have been picked off. Fundamentally, you just attack wherever the Colossi are not. Alright, I'm just going to speed things up. Speeding things up. Or you attack wherever the Swarm Hosts are not. But that's fine. Zerg has done the job of locking Protoss out of these 2 expansions. Lot of changelings, lot of killing. GG. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close a game. And I just want you to note again how brutal this is for me. How hard physically, how much it hurts. Alright, I have to, where is it? I gotta, oh god, it's right here. It's in the, I go to EU in Season 1 or Round 8, and Round 8 and Stephano, baby, and I have to go all the way in. Ugh, and then it has to load up. Ugh. Let's do another one. Let's look at some variation. Ugh. I'm going to show you how Protoss can deal with this properly. Which is sort of a simultaneous way to answer the question. What you need to worry about is a Zergy buddy. Stephano going for a more standard pool build. Obviously, you can see how the late game worked a lot at the start of Part 2, but I want to emphasize some concepts we learned in Part 1, which would be how the hell do we get to this setup. So Stephano was very fortunate to find an early expander, so he did go for pool, hatch, and then he saw the expand, so he goes ahead and throws down a 3rd hatch. Typical rules still apply. Double gas at 6 minute, very common. I think we'll probably see Stephano do it at this base, though. I can't remember where he does it. Yeah. This is really useful, because if an opponent scouts you, he doesn't know if you're going 2 gas in your expansion and none in your main. He doesn't know if you're going 2 gas at your expansion and 2 gas as well in your main. He just can't get a read on what you're doing with your gas if you take both of them here. It could be anything. Bad players will often immediately conclude that you are going 4 gas if they see this, so you can mess with them. So Stephano is going for kind of a typical, not double gas at 6, he's going quadruple gas. Doing something a little cheeky, he's getting his double Evo chamber, he's getting Zergling speed. And if he was up against a very, very aggressive player, this could be +1/+1 Zergling upgrades. He could hold off some annoying gateway pressure and transition into Ling Ultralisk. But he sees a 3rd. Again, you're always looking for signals of safety. Whatever build you envision that you want to be doing, well, let's not beat around the bush. You want to be an asshole, so you're going to go for your Swarm Host Corruptor Viper thing. You're just going to do that, right? You're just going to flood them all out. But you need to make sure that you're safe. So however you want to open, make sure you're always looking for those signals like, are we safe? Are we good to go? All right, cool. Let's go straight in to this mixture. So straight away, going for the Carapace and the missile attack upgrade back on the Stephano cam. He gets himself up a Spore Crawler in case of air, in case of air, in case of air, as well as Dark Templar. Getting a Roach Warren in case of other extraneous scare units that come out en masse. There's some really weird, like, throw a Nexus down and get, like, 7 gateways and then, like, cancel this Nexus and attack there, and it's not great, but, you know, it's still a possibility. Hey, what do you know, an Infestation Pit? Speed Zergling is useful to run in, get a good sense of what's up. We see a lot of gateways, so cool. I would generally expect there to be some kind of gateway-based play, probably a Robo or a Templar Archives, probably not Stargate-based play. But either way, excuse me, Infestation Pit and Spire.
Our forces are under attack.
So, yeah, Baby Knight, just doing his usual thing, and then, alright, we're in good shape. Yeah, still getting the Roach speed, no reason not to get that Roach speed. We'll still likely want to get a macro hatchery up, because they're going to be very useful, because remember, it's really Swarm Host, Corruptor, Drone. Drone is an important part. But again, if we're starting to identify ourselves as quite safe, often we can build this 4th hatch in the mid, instead of tucked away in our main base. So, per usual, Swarm Host getting built, center getting burrowed at, and we arrived safely at our mid game. A couple of Lings and Roaches getting built, because we don't have a lot of defensive structures. These are sort of built as necessary, tucked behind the hatchery, not like floating out here in the open, ready to be picked off, but having a little bit of defensive cupping. And I think Baby Knight doing the right thing, holding on all these corners. So, I gotta ×8 this, because this game's gonna be like 3 hours long. These speedy units are very useful versus drops in the early game. Sure, we want to take some units to try to harass his 4th base attempts, but these pesky little warp prisms that are poking around. Those will always be an issue. Now, I actually did see Stephano throw down a, where is it, a Hydra Den? I don't think this is necessary. I don't think this is, like, super pivotal to the style's success, but, I mean, I guess there's something Stephano knows that I don't, because as far as I'm concerned, this is, like, the best turtle map in the game for Zerg. You can just sit on 4 bases. Getting this 5th is almost guaranteed. You just have to be sort of conscientious of how you're positioning, because players will do these sorts of zealot pushes. Alright, speeding things right along. Speeding things right along. Kind of a money mix. 18 Swarm Hosts. Ooh, same numbers as last game. Center is the assault point, so you want to be taking out the center, the top, and the bottom expansions. Because you can pretty much just sit your butt in the middle, and there you go. There you go. Spore Crawler is being constructed this time. Ah, because we have no Corruptors. We actually don't even have a good read if he's going for air or not. Creep being spread, creep spread, very, very important, so we can snap move spine crawlers wherever we want. We talked a little bit about that in part 1. Baby Knight, not gonna let anything get in. But the middle, always gonna be a real pain in the ass to hold. Mothership cloak and everything. Speed units shutting things down. He says yoink. I don't know what yoink about. Come on, come on. See what I mean? See how like anti-zerg this is? This is not the spirit of the zerg, but it's so effective! Never attack! Never surrender, because you always win. There's the macro hatch I was talking about. He has so many drones, and he can still be adding on more drones. I'd probably build a round of drones if I lost some units. Then I can build a round of spine crawlers. Oh. Whew. Man, this is an interesting game to cast. Some roaches managed to get back there. In the meantime, a whole bunch of swarm hosts. See some attempted drops over there. But broadly speaking, the best counter, per se, is to attack wherever the swarm hosts are not. Doing huge pushes like this is great. As long as they're huger, full army pushes heading down here would be optimal. I mean, the expansion got taken out. Trying to do some blink arounds, things get killed off, but that's fine. In the same way that the Zerg is trying to prevent the Protoss from getting 5, 6, 7 bases. If the Protoss can prevent the Zerg player from getting too many bases, which is very, very hard to do as a Zerg player, to actually make sure you get a ton of bases, then you're actually in great shape. Now for comparison, I want you to know this is 10 Archons, 6 Colossus, a Mothership. Actually, we can just look at there. 6 Colossus, 10 Archon, 11 Stalkers, 4 High Templar. Versus an assorted pastries of layer tech units. Swarm Host, Infestor, Viper, Corruptor. We're going to watch this in normal. I just want you to see sort of how it looks. Here's a lot of spores. Not a lot of spines. Storms are going down to pick off these locusts. And even though it's annoying to get picked, with those feedbacks, we still are happier that our locusts aren't getting stormed and killed, because the swarm hosts really are the core to this army. This is just a support unit. So we see some hallucinations by Baby Knight to eat up some shots, and it's easy peasy cleanup. The swarm host count went from 18 to 17. Units lost tab. Fairly even in look. Alright, I gotta finish up this game so that way we can actually go on to a part 2. Oh, this game. And then with our free units, we advance, charge, yeah. Now, the ways to combat this, there are answers with this style. But the solutions to playing this style effectively against smart players largely boils down to play even slower. Like play even slower. Alicia, for instance, won a whole number of excellent games versus Stephano in practice before the WCS Season 1 Grand Finals. This is amazing. Come on, game. Alright, times 8 speed. Can my processor handle it? A counterattack. Too many spine crawlers. Stuff at the north. Too many spine crawlers. Stuff in the middle. Too many locusts. And of course, every good game has a final push. One thing that's very nice is that these swarm hosts push back a Templar, so then you can get in there and yoink with all the rest of your stuff. Now, a lot of you noticed that he dropped changelings to block in the units. Not nearly as significant as the fact that he has hardly lost any swarm hosts. Kill count 9, 3, 1, 1, 4, 8, 6, etc. And then Stephano takes a base. Do you understand how to do it? Do you understand? You spell spines, and then you never ever let him take a base, and then oh, I'll rally up here. Oh. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. target fire when the units are free. Pulling units that can be killed by corruptors. Corruptor. Ooh, gelatin. GG. Okay. Cool. When we come back, we're going to watch a game of this style not quite getting off the ground and eventually losing. It is a game between Alicia and Snoot. So when we come back, we'll watch that. On a break.